Okie doke. Well, you wanna roll? So I figured we'd have like a 5 minute conversation just about where we go from here. The listeners probably will have noticed that for the last month or so we were a little bit inconsistent, and that is entirely my fault. I'm working two jobs, and also have lots of other projects on the side. And I think that like moving forward from here, weekly podcasting is probably a bit much for me. And also, I think that the weekly news podcasts are not where our listeners are getting the highest value. So I have noticed that on specific episodes, like the GameStop episode, um, we got really good listener interest. But then when we do our weekly news, sometimes if nothing really big has happened in the news, then there's less interest. So I'm thinking maybe we go to either an occasional format or a monthly format and just focus on big stories that have kind of broader implications, that maybe people will be interested in on a more like enduring basis rather than doing just weekly news tidbits. But I haven't checked in with you for a while to see how you're feeling about, how much time we're spending on the podcast, or what you want to do with it from here. So let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I was kind of getting to the same with the once a week. Like if it was really like a low news week, I don't feel like the episodes were as popular as the GameStop episode, which was huge news. So an ad hoc type episode with a monthly news where we kind of recap like the bigger news items rather than the bigger news items over the week. I feel like there's probably a lot better, more appealing big news items monthly, unless there's happens to be a game stonk type stock situation weekly, which we don't really see because it's mostly like maybe one big news stories a week, but we haven't really been seeing that.
Yeah, I've kind of been thinking that like if there's a major market story that happens, then we record that week, and shoot for once a month, roughly. Um, Try to hit like a really major story once a month. Um, and the nice thing about that is that we could potentially put a little bit more energy into that one episode. When we're doing it every week, I feel like I get a little bit lazy on how much time I'm actually putting into it. So I think spending more time on one episode and putting out a better product would be better than spending less time once a week.
Yeah, I agree. But having fun with it, not to the point where it's like everything's like completely 100% serious. I mean, we can throw in some, funny things in there like, the price of, cheese will go up exponentially or some obscure stuff like that.
I have also kind of this pipe dream eventually of doing like market education with stuffed animals since we're the Wall Street petting zoo. But that will be a longer term project because I don't actually have time for that. And just one of my many harebrained ideas that I don't actually have time to
I mean,
pursue
we could
right
do
now.
like a goofy pseudo cartoon with that where you take a picture of it, but we use only a 2D version of the stuffed animals and we just kind of generate the animations on the computer.
That would be more doable than trying to set up my video rig and actually record the stuffed animals.
Would it just be the bull running into the bear the whole time?
I have a bull and a bear stuffed animal that I bought on Amazon, and they're both very cute. And I bought a video rig, so I actually like have thought about this enough to, get all the equipment for it. But yeah, I just I don't know that I actually have time to do much recording.
What would be like the first episode for that?
Well, I was thinking that like Bully and Barry would have their own segments.
Like the names.
And they would just sort of take a market education topic like let's talk about call options, um, and then just sort of do a brief introduction with like humor. I would want to definitely sprinkle in humor into it, make it funny, kind of. offbeat, but also educational.
Yeah, I feel like the Barry character would just be like a very stoic, solemn, repeating the news, whereas the bear would be more energetic and angry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I also have thought about like bringing in the full cast of like market animals, like pigs and other stuff, and just having like our whole team of analysts. I think it would be fun. I think that probably we would get a lot of Twitter followers, just people who enjoy like stuffed animals and offbeat funny things.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I'd be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I think that it's worth doing at some point if I get to where I don't have two jobs anymore.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I'm working SEO. I'm writing SEO for a website, which is my full-time job, and then I have a secondary job where I'm the books editor for a small press book publisher. And that one I don't actually get paid very much, but I do kind of want to fulfill my obligations to them and leave them in a better place than I found them. But I don't anticipate doing that for more than a year, and in fact, it may not even be a year because I really don't have time for it. So.
Yeah, and here I am barely with enough time with one job.
It's a lot, man, trying to take classes and also work two jobs and also publish articles. I don't know how I've even been surviving the last couple months, honestly, but you just ruthlessly prioritize.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I want to go to a monthly rather than a weekly format, because I got to ruthlessly prioritize this podcasting thing too.
Well, I'm okay with going to a monthly format, and then also I'm sure you're okay with ad hoc for major news items.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go. When I've been writing these articles on TradingView, and my GameStop article and my Archegos Capital article, which is the one that we're going to talk about this week, both got like hundreds of likes, whereas my typical posts where I'm just updating on like less important stock market news, they're getting like 10 or 20. So the difference in interest is orders of magnitude when we have one of these major news events. So I think it makes a lot of sense to just focus on those things.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we'd love to hear your feedback about where we take the podcast from here. How you feel about our weekly news updates, how you feel about the bigger stories, where you think that we should prioritize our energies. We'd love to hear all of that from you. And be sure to tune in. This is a special episode. Be sure to tune in for our full regular episode this week. It's going to be a really cool episode, I think.